And before the break, Leanne promised you that we're going to be speaking to one of South Africa's favourite daughters. Accomplished, now retired swimmer Natalie du Toit broke many barriers and stigmas when she lost her leg at 17 years old, but continued to compete in able-bodied competitions and excel. Among the many medals she's won, she's represented the country at the Olympic and Paralympic Games and won many global accolades. Life after her career has been busy, with heading up the Athletes Commission at SASCOC, helping create a blockchain app for athletes to fund their careers. And now the latest role to add to that list is judge of the GSPORT Awards. This year's ceremony will take place on the 31st of this month and will award 18 different categories, which take the public vote into account, and voting closes this Sunday. Natalie herself won an award in 2012, and she joins us now from our Seapoint studio. Very good morning, Natalie, and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Valen, and thanks for having me on the show again.
Natalie, what's been the caliber of the 600 plus nominations that the judges had to go through for the GSPORT Awards this year?
You know, it was quite a long day. I think sitting and going through all the nominations. There are some young nominees, there are some older nominees, and I think the depth is getting bigger and bigger and better. And I think that's something that is very positive. You know, looking back into the different sports and to see that, and also to see the growth of GSPORT Awards and how it's been taken on by women, and I think at the same time being accepted. For me, that's amazing to see within my lifetime, and I think it's, you know, for us as GSPORT Awards, it's about collaborating. It's about coming together and talking more and having those conversations and trying to get people together and women together. So I think it's definitely doing its job. And, you know, from a former athlete coming on board and, you know, showing that I think athletes don't always just have to be an athlete or a former athlete, but you can get involved and actually do better and do good for, you know, the rest of the athletes and for the youngsters coming up.
If you look at what's happening with this GSPORT initiative and what's happening at SASCOC, the matters that you have to deal with at the Athletes Commission, what would you say the health of women's sport is actually in the country?
You know, I think it's a matter of getting everyone to speak. It's getting a matter of getting federations to, I think, stand up and also, you know, work towards growing women within sport. I know a lot of athletes, you know, have many different ways of speaking about women in sport. I've heard some say that, you know, women generally don't want to work as hard as the men do. I think that's, you know, it's been a challenge. As a woman, I know it was tough for me to be able to get into a pool and swim for 8 hours and to be able to study, to be able to, you know, live a life, do motivational speaking, trying to earn a bit of a living. So I think from that side, it's quite challenging. And I think, you know, you really have to know what you want to achieve to be able to achieve it. And saying that, I think different sports have different opportunities for women. You will have your male-dominated sports that I think sometimes a little bit more challenging, and I think sports or team sports are a little bit more challenging as well. You know, in swimming, we had times that we swam for and tried to achieve, and once you achieve those times, generally you make a team as long as you top one or top two. So I think between all of that, you know, we're trying to grow the depth within women's sports. We're trying to grow the depth within leaders in sport as well, and top sport. And, you know, it's challenging, and I think it's going to take a few years. But I think we've just got to keep not just talking about it, but actually working together and you know, collaborating and working towards a better future, I think, for women in sport.
I certainly think that you show that there is a will to actually do that and to make it better for our female athletes coming through. Natalie, thank you so much for chatting to us. Have a wonderful Women's Day ahead. And yes, we can't wait for the GSPORT Awards, which is going to be taking place on the 31st of August in Johannesburg. That's Natalie du Toit chatting to us from our Seapoint studio.